Luca Shea, it's me, your favorite award-winning interior designer, Lorenzo Buttram Hubbard. And welcome to another blog. So what are we going to talk about this week? First, let me tell you where I am. One of the sponsors of my blog on The Gay Socialite is Toro Toro. I didn't design Toro Toro, but I absolutely love coming here. It's amazing. It's inside the Intercontinental in Miami, and its food is amazing. The decor is beautiful, and I can pay homage to other people who design things as well, not just to myself. So I kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of why I'm not just sitting at home. We're also going to film today a blog episode for The Gay Socialite with the fabulous chef Jean Delgado, who is the celebrity executive chef here at Toro Toro. What I decided that I wanted to talk about today was when to make that decision on when you should hire an architect or an interior designer. Many clients and many people who don't even hire me do have that question. They ask me, you know what, I don't know if I need an architect or do I just need an interior designer. You know what, rule number one, if you're dealing with anything structural, you have to have an architect. Not just a general contractor, but an architect. If you're dealing with, and when I say structural, that also is additions. Or if you're doing anything that's going to maybe question the integrity of the home on the inside, if you're doing any kind of remodel or anything like that, you absolutely, and if you think you're going to be dealing with some low-bearing walls, or you're going to be removing walls or moving things around that actually have to do with any structural issues, you have to have an architect. When it comes to, if you don't have any structural issues, it's kind of vague. I've had people hire architects in different countries, not just here in the United States, and they really didn't need one. They ended up paying $5,000, $10,000 to an architect to do something that a general contractor could have done. Because most general contractors, especially here in the United States, are qualified to pull licenses, and they can actually pull the permits that you need to do the work that you have to have done. You don't always have to have an architect. Now, I do want you guys to also recognize there is a difference between being an architect. I'm an architectural designer and an interior designer. An architectural designer is different than an architect. An architect deals with structural issues. As an architectural designer, I actually deal with concept. I am the person who comes up with the vision. I am the person who decides what something should be. I'm the person who meets with the owner of a commercial property, and they just know that they want a lounge or a nightclub, but they have absolutely no idea what they want it to look like, what they want the name to be, they don't know any of that. I'm the person that comes up with that vision, and then I deal with my architects who work for me, or architects that they already selected, to pass that on. Now, luckily, I just happen to have the background and the eye to be able to deal with any issue that you may need when it comes to going over the plans, because I have a lot of clients who send plans to me to find errors. Now, because clients send plans to me to find errors, I don't want that to be confused to say that I am putting myself above the architect that they have selected. The problem is, unfortunately, every architects and interior designers work with a different part of their brain. And one is more technical and one is more creative. And even though they seem like they should be exactly the same, they're not. And what happens so many times is that the architects will design something to be structurally sound, but it's not necessarily taken into account how people are going to live in that structure once it's completed. As an interior designer, I'm the person that looks at those plans and immediately I'm like, okay, there's no room for this. What were they thinking? That's not going to fit. I'm that person that can see all of those errors. Sometimes I'll catch some structural things, but it's always good to have a second eye, especially if you're working with someone creative. Now, if you're going to hire an interior designer, I think that you should have to be careful to make sure that you're hiring that interior designer that you connect with. Now, there's two different methods of madness when I think of that. When you're hiring an interior designer for a residential structure, I think that it's okay to hire an interior designer that is, now I take away that word, okay, take it away. It's important to hire an interior designer that you connect with, someone that you feel emotionally comfortable with, because this person becomes an extension of your family. On a commercial property, that's not necessary. I've designed nightclubs with, now I am that person. When I'm designing a hotel, a nightclub, or whatever, I am that person that I only deal with the actual owner. I don't deal with assistants and secretaries and all of that. I don't deal with any of that. I deal with the owner. Now, the first thing on a commercial property as an interior designer and architectural designer that I talk to them about is you have to leave all of your wants at home. I have met so many clients in different countries and also here in the United States that they have money, and what they're creating commercially is exactly what they want to enjoy. They're not thinking about the client, they're thinking about themselves. Error number one. Nobody cares what you like. Everybody wants to go out and have a good time in a place that they want to enjoy. Now, unless you're Beyonce or Mariah, I had to throw her in there, unless you're one of those and you actually have your pulse or your finger on the pulse of what everybody loves or everybody enjoys, sometimes you make huge mistakes and you create things for you and your small circle of friends. And your interior designer, when you're selecting them, should be someone that should tell you, that's not smart, that's an error. Or there's somebody that can tell you what you should be spending your money on versus on to help you prioritize your money, to help you decide which things are important and which things you're just spending money on, because yeah, they may look great, but you have things that are more important. I'll give you, as an interior designer, I'll give you one of the biggest mistakes that I see in commercial structures, hospitality, is I find so many commercial structures where the owner will hire the architect, and the architect will design the structure but does not have experience as an interior designer, and they design the bar. And the bar is so jacked up you can't believe. It's too wide, there's not enough room for your legs, it's too high, it's too low, because the architect doesn't know how to say, we have passed the area of my expertise. You now have to find or hire someone that's what they do. Now, I do think that when you're hiring that interior designer, you need to make sure, in a commercial structure, you need to make sure that there's someone that actually has experience in working in whatever it is you're trying to design. My areas of expertise are hospitality and entertainment. So I do nightclubs, hotels, restaurants, and I have some experience in medical as well. Medical is in the lounge waiting areas, not in the clinical areas. Even though I think that there are people who always ask for your help, as a professional, it's my job to tell someone when I think when I think they're asking for something that I'm not able to provide. Now, moving to the residential side, and the reason I said that these people are an extension of your family is I have people that I'm on their third home, their fourth home. Some people it takes 2 years to finish their home, and you really have to like your designer. You have to feel like it's a person that you can talk to, that you can express what it is that you want. How can I truly create something amazing and magical for someone if I never really get to know their personality? One of the things that makes me so good at what I do is I'm a good listener. I listen to what my clients are actually looking for, not just what I want them to have. There are many designers out there, they're a one-trick pony. They can design one thing and that's all they can do. But if you're really an amazing designer, you can give me 20 of the exact same apartment and give me 20 clients, and I guarantee you I'll come up with 20 different designs, because each client is going to be different. So I'm going to create something that's different for every client. Now, it's also important to note that one of the important things about an interior designer is not just the creative part, is the managerial and the I guess I'm looking for the right word to express it. But you can't just be creative, but you also have to be a good business person. I am the person that's responsible for the budget. I'm responsible for how that money is going to be spent. I'm responsible for scheduling. So making sure that everything arrives in the time that it's supposed to arrive. And I'm also responsible for chewing people's butts out when things are not done like they're supposed to be done. Now, in 2017, especially in a lot of the countries that I've lived in, it does help that I'm bilingual. You know, my Italian is kind of rusty, but I am bilingual. It does help that I am able to communicate with the contractors. I personally, no disrespect to any other designers out there, I would not hire a designer who all the workers spoke Spanish and they could not communicate with any of the workers and they had to wait for someone to come and translate. I wouldn't hire them. Because I, as a designer, have to be able to express in the moment to a worker exactly what I want. And if I can't do that, we have a problem. And I know that that's important. Now, if I were to get jobs in France, guess who would be studying French? Girl. So I'm just saying to you that it's important that you hire a designer that, one, you connect with, two, that is professional. Well, budget is important because you have to hire someone that you think that you can afford. Now, let me talk a little bit about that. Designers are kind of like going to purchase your car or going to purchase your clothing. Tonight, everything that I have on is from certain designers. I won't throw them out because they didn't write me a check. But I think you guys know that everything that I have on is what. But what I'm going to say to you is that designers as well, with more years of experience, with more jobs behind them, they actually charge different prices. So a designer who just graduated from design school or just came into the field is not going to charge the same price as someone like myself who's been doing the same thing for 30 years and who is an award-winning designer who has lived all over the world. So you get what you pay for. But I also think that you have to, as a client, you have to make sure that you put your tentacles out there a little bit. Don't hire someone just because one of your friends said, oh my God, this is a great designer. You have to make sure that designer is the right designer for you. I'm an amazing designer. But I'm not perfect for everyone. The people that I'm perfect for, I am amazing. But I also am not the perfect designer for everyone, and that's okay. I do think that it is important for you in your interviewing process. Don't just, I'm going to give you a story. I have, to make this a little more fun, I have some celebrity athlete clients. They are signed by the NBA. They don't interview any designers. Their manager refers a designer to them who doesn't have anything in common with them. He doesn't look like them, doesn't talk like them, doesn't walk like them, isn't from the same background, doesn't know anything. The designer is his cousin, and so that designer now is designing his home, and then when you look at the home, it doesn't even look like he lives there. So it's important that when you're spending your money, that you find a designer that you feel comfortable with, that you feel that that person gets you. I have clients that are Black, white, Latin, Asian, but each one of them all say and feel that I was the perfect designer for them because because of my personality and my way of designing and my style. So I do think that it is important for everyone to make not only the decision on if you need an architectural designer, if you need an architect, if you need a general contractor, or if you need an interior designer. But it's also important to select the right person. Now, one little PS at the end is with the contractors I don't feel comfortable. One of the problems that I find here in Miami is there are so many contractors, general contractors, that they represent themselves as designers. They'll put something, something, something designs as the name of their company. And so the client thinks that they are actual interior designers when actually they're one-trick ponies. They aren't interior designers, they're general contractors. They do amazing work as contractors, but because they're trying to make more money, they represent themselves as someone that can handle the design phase of a job as well. Be careful of that. There's a property directly in front of where I live. I won't throw out the name, but I can see that the general contractors that are working there, every single condominium looks exactly the same. There's only thing that has changed is maybe the chandelier that was selected or the sofa that was selected, but the layout, the scheme, the theme, everything is exactly the same because they did not hire a designer. They actually let the general contractor select everything. Don't do that. So I just wanted to give you guys some ideas this week on what to do, how to do it. And if you have any questions, you always know that you can call me. My number is here on my website. But you can also send me your messages. I don't mind getting any comments or feedbacks that you may have. Send those to me. I'm always happy to receive them. And if there are any subjects that you would like me to touch on here on Lorenzo Hubbard Designs, I would love to touch on those if I can. And I will give you this one little tidbit. I always say that an interior designer is only as good as his resources or her resources. So if you're working with an interior designer or even an architectural or an architect and they don't have good resources, that pretty much tells you they're not the person for you. Loves and kisses, and this is Lorenzo Buttram Hubbard, and you've been with me another week on Lorenzo Hubbard Designs blog. Till next week.